Welcome to Let's Talk Money, Honey, the podcast where we break down the barriers to financial success.
I'm Elise Levy here with Holly Henry, and we're your hosts, two financial advisors on a mission to demystify investing, unravel the complexities of money, and sprinkle a little wisdom into your life.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just dipping your toes into the world of finance, join us once a month as we discuss how to navigate life's financial twists and turns. Just remember, building wealth and living your best life should be empowering, not intimidating.
So listen up and let's talk money, honey.
Welcome to another mini episode of Let's Talk Money, Honey. Today we are talking about a very important topic: what to do when you leave your job and you leave your 401k plan. So, before we get too in the weeds, because there's a lot of different options, Holly, let's just start with the very simple leaving it alone. What happens?
Yeah, so that's just it. You just leave it alone. You don't do anything. It basically stays with your former employer. I do want to say that that's probably not something that we will typically recommend because, especially if you're one that goes from job to job, and let's face it, like we're all normally changing careers or changing jobs at one point or the other. If there's just maybe one retirement plan out there, that's one thing. But if you have several, just remember you're paying fees on every single one. So that adds up. Also, like you may forget to update beneficiaries. So we've all had those clients that forgot that an ex-spouse is on an old retirement plan. And then I also don't believe that dormant plans are actively managed the way they're just kind of casted to the side. And again, it's not a bad option if you just want to forget about it. It's just one that chances are when we talk, it's not going to come from our recommendation.
Absolutely. And I think just we've seen with a lot of our clients, the tracking down of all your accounts is a pain in the butt. And what happens is your company can change names, they can change who they're working with for the plan, and all of a sudden you have no idea where your money went. And it's really hard to track it down. So that's why it's just good to deal with it within, I'd say, 6 months to a year of changing jobs and not leave it alone.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that because, again, when it's out of sight, out of mind, and then if an accident happens and your spouse or significant other or whoever is in charge of your estate, they may not even know that this plan exists. So it's really good to just keep all your retirement plans in one area if possible.
Absolutely. Organization's always key.
Yes.
So another option you do have is you can take all of your distribution, or you can take a partial distribution in cash. Why is this not recommended? Well, it's because of penalties. So if you're not over 59 and a half, you are going to have to pay a 10% penalty. And that's on top of the income tax that you're paying on that withdrawal. So let's say Holly has $50,000 in a 401k account and she leaves her job and she says, no, I want the cash. So she's going to pay her income tax level, let's say it's 24%, plus another 10%. So by the end of the day, you're not really walking away with that much. And so it's really important, unless you really direly need that money, don't really do this option, or talk to a financial professional and really make sure that it's the only option for you and there's no alternative.
Yeah, and I will say, even in most cases, even if you're older than 59 and a half, we're not going to recommend this, especially if there's a large lump of sum of money, because again, you just go back into the taxes.
Yep.
And the fact that you may, I have had clients that consider pulling out a couple 100,000 because they thought that was the only thing that they could do. By the time you're paying taxes on that full amount, you've now put yourself in a higher tax bracket.
Yep.
And that money is chances are going to go into a savings account where it's not earning anything. So keep it vested and keep it earning money and keep it in an account that you can pull it out as you can, and maybe it won't put you in such a high tax bracket. Again, this is something that you really talk to financial advisors about, what your options are and what's the best fit for you.
Absolutely, before touching your money. And that kind of leads into our next option. So, Holly, if they don't want to take it out and put it in cash, where can they put it?
So typically they can roll it into an IRA, which this is something that Elise and I can help people with. This is what we do on a regular basis. So if you've left your job and you have these dormant accounts out there, we need to roll them into typically an IRA. Again, Elise and I are going to go over all these options with you, and we are going to figure out what's actually the best option for you. And we will go over the pros and the cons of every single thing. But an IRA, in a lot of cases, it just makes sense because one, you're rolling it over so you're not getting taxed.
Yep.
And this is also a very easy process. So we can do this typically over the phone, and then we just call the company and request that the money's sent. Now that documents can be e-signed, you don't have to come to our office. It's not this time-consuming thing. We can have conversations on Zoom or through the phone or however is easiest, because we know that time is precious. And even though you may have a lunch break, it's probably filled with errands. I know mine typically is. And so we tried to make this process just as easy and convenient for you. Again, if this is the best recommendation that's for you.
Yeah. Well, and as you kind of go through your stages of life, the IRA, the individual retirement account, it acts as a catch-all. So as
Mhm.
you hop from job to job and you collect all these different retirement accounts, you keep putting them in the IRA. Excuse me. So when you retire, you are going to just have one IRA, maybe a Roth, maybe a non-retirement account, but it's a lot simpler when you go into retirement and want to start withdrawing income instead of having all these different employer plans all over the country.
Yeah, and I do also want to add that with the IRA plans with us, obviously it comes with a financial advisor. So we are talking with individuals and finding out exactly what your investment horizon is, what your investment tolerance is, meaning like, do you want risk? Do you not want risk? If you have plans all over the place, they may not even be invested at the same risk tolerance level. You may not even keep up with what the rate of return is. You have a financial advisor checking in on a pretty regular basis, depending on how you want to be checked in on, to just say, is there anything that we need to know financially that's going on that's going to impact this IRA? And then also, by the way, this is the rate of return. You're being kept updated, and then you also have us annoying you on a regular basis going, are these beneficiaries up to date? Let's just make sure everything with this is where it needs to be, and like Elise said earlier, nice and organized.
Yeah. And I think too, the last thing I want to hit home is you are not limited to what you are investing in an IRA. So 401ks have very limited products the way they're structured to make it super simple. So it's usually mutual funds or target date funds. But in an IRA, you can invest in whatever you want. So individual stocks, ETFs, kind of the world is your oyster in that kind of account. So our last option is you can take your old plan and you can roll it into your current plan with your new employer. This is a great option and it's available to most people, but you always want to talk with the plan administrator or like your HR person, whoever is your contact, because they'll tell you if it's allowed or not, and they'll tell you what the steps are to do that. And chances are your employer has to approve the transfer to go through. Besides that, Holly, am I missing anything that was quick and
I
dirty?
mean, I think that we have covered everything. Again, we really just want to highlight that chances are our recommendations is going to be to set up an IRA or to roll it into an existing 401k with your current employer. But again, it's important for you to sit down or call a financial advisor and really figure out what's the best fit for you.
Absolutely. So thank you for listening and make sure to keep an eye out for our main newsletter and future podcast episodes.
This is our mandatory disclosure statement. Elise Levy with Legacy Wealth Planning in Reno, Nevada. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Mariner Independent Advisor Network, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Mariner Independent Advisor Network, LLC, and Legacy Wealth Planning are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Holly Henry with River Valley Wealth Management near Mena, Arkansas. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.